We have been talking about the situation with Manchester United. That's obviously the main stuff in the story. In the newspapers as well. We heard from Andy Mitten a little bit earlier on. He talked about that first goal that Man United conceded last night. Here's Keith Andrews speaking on Virgin Media about Paul Pogba being to blame. Have a look.
The manager has no chance when two of your players just switching off. Just do what they did for that corner kick.
Just quickly, Tommy, the reason Pogba is in that position is because he doesn't trust him to mark somebody. And now he can't even be trusted really to do a zonal position work because he even gets attracted to the bodies in front of him. He's in the middle of the 6-yard post to cover that specific area in case anything goes wrong.
So he's just been told you don't actually have to mark anybody, you just...
We see a lot with strikers, don't we? Drogba did it, for instance. He's good in the air. Don't give him the responsibility of marking a player. Just go and head it, go and attack that area. But he couldn't even do
judge the flight of the ball because he's took a yard for no reason and he's got caught under it. But he's got caught under it because he's square on. If he's shaped where he can go one way or the other, he just goes back half a yard and heads it out.
Too harsh on Pogba?
A little bit harsh, isn't it? Is there going to be a lot of revisionism done over Manchester United on the back of last night? There obviously will be, and whether or not it's correct is the question. Keith would obviously have a better understanding than I would of Paul Pogba as a man marker, but I do think that the outstanding players that they were up against last night is a fairly sizable factor in the scoreline.
Except that if you're conceding from set pieces,
that was a disaster.
Okay, in fairness, the best teams in the world should be really good at set pieces, so you should need to be on your game completely. But it wasn't like an amazing. There wasn't a load of subterfuge in it. It was a fairly straightforward routine. Oh, thanks very much.
There was opportunism there as well, though. Like Matic and De Gea not properly communicating with one another. I'm pretty sure Matic thought that De Gea was going to come for the ball. He never did. But if you think that and you're not communicating with your goalkeeper, then it's kind of your fault as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's practice, isn't it? It's not like Matic is just in the team. He's been in the team the whole time.
I was actually limbering up for a glorification of the Man U Matic chat at one point last night.
Yeah.
Because he started the game so well.
Yeah, well, we were hinting at that yesterday, and then... You were hinting
at that. Just to clarify, you were hinting at that
Harris
yesterday.
Was like, no.
Yeah.
But, well, they were so good against Fulham, mighty Fulham. They slayed the beast.
Yeah, the run of fixtures that Manchester United have had has obviously been quite nice, but I don't think it's fair to say all the great work of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's era so far has been undone because of last night. I think his stock is very, very high. I agree with Andy that he's still probably the front runner. The next couple of weeks are obviously going to be vital. We always knew that the month of February and the start of March was going to be the decision period for Solskjaer.
Here's the thing. This exact thing happened to Man United all the time under Alex Ferguson until they had their super teams who could actually dig out those results, and they had two of those super teams over a 20-year period, and that was it. Was there a third team really? Was there three separate eras where does the team who loses the Champions League final also qualify? I suppose they do, yeah. Is that different? No, that's the same team who wins it, really, so... Well, yeah, that's the same team, yeah.
But the thing is, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets a job, he will also get humbled next season. Every team gets humbled, except for the very, very best, every single season. Manchester City got humbled a couple of times over Christmas. Liverpool getting beaten by Manchester City after that. Not a humbling, but there are defeats. Things happen. This is the real test now for Solskjaer from a situational point of view, coming back from a defeat. The question is, how artificial was the Manchester United confidence over the last couple of weeks? Was it really a new manager bounce? Was it just harmony in the squad that helped them overperform, perhaps? I was of the belief that they weren't actually overperforming over the past few weeks, that they just found their actual level of performance. And last night, did they underperform? Well, if you look at a goalkeeper and an outfielder not communicating on a corner, I think that's a bit of a lapse in concentration, which probably feeds into the idea of an underperformance. That some Manchester United fans this morning will be thinking,
should Kimpembe have been sent off?
I think so.
And when a player gets booked at 10 minutes in, aren't you supposed to have the nous to just target and tackle that player and make sure that he's the one who responds and ends up lashing out? And isn't that the...
Well, they kind of did, but the referee, that pull down on... Who was the pull down on Rashford, wasn't it? At the start of the second half. For me, that was a free kick and a yellow card, for sure. When you talk about targeting individual players, what PSG did to Ashley Young last night was just textbook targeting. His position would have to be in threat.
Yeah, but he brought a little bit of that himself, shoulder charging somebody a la GAA.
Well, what I mean is targeting the player, the weak link in the team, and just going after the left flank.
But after the booking happens is cheating to get him sent off, which is, You don't think... Jose Mourinho had been in charge last night and everything had been going well, and Kimpembe is booked 11 minutes in. everybody went like, oh, shot right beside him. A lot of bad acting going on to try and get him sent off. Right, let's bring it to...
So you didn't think it was a second yellow card when he like... It was,
GAA style?
Like, it was soccer's version of throwing somebody off the Hell in a Cell.
I don't know, I think you're right. I mean, it was shoulder to shoulder, right?
Yeah, no, it wasn't yellow.
Okay, so there's the back page of the Irish Independent for you this morning. $25,000 packages see Mayo poised for New York windfall. Let's see what the response is like to this. So, the Mayo GAA International Supporters Foundation Black Tie Gala will take place in the world-renowned Cipriani Hotel on Broadway on the 3rd of May. This is, basically, you could not buy this type of advertising, but Michael Burney has a great story here. And obviously, Mayo are heading over to play New York in the first round of the Connacht Football Championship. There is a separate event happening with David Brady and Team OTB the night after this, but we'll tell you more about that in the future. So this one though, 25 grand, you can be, the Ruby sponsor and Emerald sponsorships are available at a whopping cost of 25 and 10 grand respectively, with perks such as VIP seating alongside a high profile player, ex-player obviously, and that's the team we're going to come out to this. I mean, that would be mad, wouldn't it? The full team out. It's the Friday night, so why not, you know?
The game's on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it on a Sunday or is it Saturday?
It's usually the Sunday evening, isn't it?
Is it?
Usually. I don't know. Like, that would, I guess, 2-day recovery. Like, James Horan would be mad to allow that to happen, given his very first championship game as Mayo boss was almost getting beaten in London.
Yeah.
Like, he knows the perils of these trips. He knows what New York have done in terms of causing a little bit of a scare the last 2 years consecutively. There's no chance he lets his Mayo players go to that.
You get a signed team jersey, special VIP gifts for guests, and entry to the event after party. Which
what is the after party?
It's going to be good. This is like Mayo taking over the whole of New York. It's like the Muppets go to New York. It's like taking over.
What's the famous Irish pub in Times Square?
There are many.
There are many. It's just the after party is just an Irish
like
pub in Times Square.
Irish pubs in New York. So Mayo obviously were the third biggest spenders in 2017 behind Cork and Dublin, with 1.5 million spent on team preparation, and obviously not that much spent on the Mayo hurlers, as we know. So yeah, they're expected to raise an absolute fortune. I think there's like one key former so there's one key American who's an Irish American whose ma left from Mayo in like, you know, when would that have been, like the 30s or 40s, and he's the key driver behind organising this. So, but when the GPA do this, it's a scandal. It's an outrage. They're taking money off the local GAA board. But Kerry did this and raised an absolute fortune.
Chicago?
Well, they did it in New York as well.
But they made a big wedge in Chicago.
Like how much?
I don't want to get my figures mixed up here.
Okay. But there was the New York one I heard was like helped to pay for
the entire team preparation.
The Centre of Excellence. There was like involved in, so counties are doing this, and there's no comment from the New York County Board saying no, you can't do it, because remember, all of the teams in New York are bankrolled to a massive amount. Like there's roughly $250,000 to put a team in the championship effectively. In New York is what the lowest amount that you'll be spending on preparations would be. So anyway, New York, America, rich, Mayo, not rich, Mayo gone over to take some of the money. I have no problem with that, do you?
No.
FAI expect All-Ireland clash to survive launch fiasco. We haven't talked about this yet. The FAI expect a new All-Ireland clash between the champions of the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland to go ahead, even though the announcement caught clubs on both sides of the border by surprise. So Fran Gavin mentioned it yesterday at the League of Ireland season launch, and then the IFA came out and said, well, that hasn't been agreed yet, so, you know, until everything is agreed, nothing is agreed, I believe, is how talks between bodies north and south generally goes. United's bubble burst, and Mbappe stars and Pogba sent off in bruising first defeat for Solskjaer. The red card for Pogba was really annoying, because like there's no chance now. Not that there was, but Kieran Marmion is coming back is the rugby story in the back of the Times today. And cricketers hit by county ban. Nick Royal has this story that the England-Wales Cricket Board could be acting in breach of UK employment law by classing Northern Ireland-born Ireland internationals as overseas players in English domestic cricket from next season. So the sports lawyers are on the case, which I think will probably be good for Irish cricket to have more players playing county cricket in England and classified as non-overseas players. Defiant Dortmund can hold firm at Wembley, so that's a preview of tonight's game. We're back. Racing makes a welcome return to Britain today. Cheltenham is just around the corner. It's time to banish those flu blues. The racing poster on board with the cheerleading this morning. Angel, torments the Red Devils. Angel torments Red Devils. So Di Maria shows bottle as PSG outclass United. Great ad for Heineken as he's pretending to sip. So Tommy said earlier the order of events was gets abused, takes corner, goal is scored, bottle thrown. Thanks very much, and then FU.
All right. God, I got that mixed up. I thought it was FU before bottle.
I mean, you might be right. Don Lennon also writing about France this morning in the paper, and Kieran Shannon has a bit of a love letter tribute to the coaching maverick John Morrison, who passed away, I think it was yesterday. They had a lot of love in GAA circles for the late great John Morrison. No olays for Ole as sunshine turns back into grey skies, because it's Manchester, it's always raining, right? And then United's Paris mismatch we've already spoken about, and then there's match previews and also about stories about Gordon Banks. Gordon Darcy in his piece today is talking about France as well, and then the Irish Times have the news that Gary Ringrose should also be fit in time to return for the Italy game, so it'll be interesting to see what the selection dilemmas or otherwise are for that. Is Henshaw going to be back for that? What's the story with Robbie Henshaw's injury?
I don't know. If everybody's back fit, there is still questions about what he goes with. Does he go back experimenting again? Does he go back with what he feels to be his best midfield? There's plenty of questions, and I'm sure they'll come to fruition if Henshaw is back fully fixed. It looks like, as you say, Guy Ringrose will be. Just a couple of the other back pages this morning. The back page of the Irish Daily Mail goes with reality bites. Pogba sees red as PSG inflict a first defeat on Ole. And also, speaking yesterday, Paddy Cullen says Croker gives Dubs advantage, which seems like a fairly mediocre thing to say, except for nobody actually really comes out and says that the Dubs get an advantage from playing in Croke Park, except for people who hold a deeply ingrained anti-Dublin bias. So let's just see what Paddy Cullen says. He says, there is a definite advantage in Croker, no doubt about it. Everybody knows it. The dogs in the street know it. But he forgot to say, that certain Dublin fans don't know it. Back page of the Herald is Paris ruin Ole's run. Unbeaten record ends as 10-man United crushed by PSG. You've also got that FAI story, jumping the gun on cup plan. The back page of the Sun is disaster. Angle bottled as Pogba sees red in United meltdown. And you've also got Chelsea. Blues eye Zidane as Sarri loses backing. So if you look at this on the back page, if you're considering, picking up a paper, if you just have a look at the cliff notes, it says talks have advanced with regards to Zinedine Zidane. So they're actually speaking to Zinedine Zidane, and then you actually open the newspaper and you read a little bit more and talks have advanced this week over when they should make their move. So there has been no move made. There are no talks with Zinedine Zidane. So don't worry about that story for the time being. They're interested in Zinedine Zidane at the moment, as every club who look to be getting rid of a manager should be. Back page of the Mirror is disaster as well. Brutal reality check for Ole as United flop Angel masterminds shock at Old Trafford. And then finally, the Irish Daily Star is red and buried. Solskjaer's United outclassed by PSG. But most importantly this morning, the big GAA story is on the front of the Irish Daily Star. GAA hero saves burning woman at Mass. All-Ireland star puts out fire with bare hands. Not sure if you've seen this story.
I saw a bit of it.
There's great detail in the Irish Daily Star this morning.
What type of candle was it?
Well, let me explain to you. So Donal Reid, an All-Ireland winner with Donegal in 1992, who was also part of the backroom team in 2012, was at his local church, St Patrick's Church in Killygordon, County Donegal. There was a healing mass, basically, on Monday morning. So he was about 4 rows behind an elderly woman when he noticed a small light coming from the hood of the woman's coat. Donald soon realised that the woman's coat was on fire after she had brushed up against a holy candle.
What type of candle?
A few seconds earlier. A holy candle.
What type of candle is that?
I presume it's a...
How is it holy? What's it?
Well, blessed, of course. You put in your 20 cent and then it's holy.
You give it money and it's blessed. That's how it's a holy candle.
Have you never lit a candle? Have you never lit a candle for anybody?
Did you never lit a candle yourself? No, don't. Down at the mass, what he said.
Scared of frightening the woman by shouting, Donald was left with a dilemma, but he knew how to act. He rushed to the woman and began to pat her coat down in a bid to fan down the flames as the woman's coat began to ignite. When he managed to put out the fire with his bare hands, Mr. Reid then took the woman's coat off. I just noticed the light was on the woman's coat and realised it was actually on fire. It was soon getting worse, he said. Mr. Reid was left with burns to his hands from the flames, but said he was okay afterwards. Hero of the week, Donal Reid. Saving lives. Winning All-Irelands and saving lives. It's the life I want to lead.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got the stigmata now, does he? The burns on his hands?
Well, that's true, and they'll start appearing in other places now as well. That's the price to pay when a holy candle tries to get somebody. Well done to Donal Reid.
Who knew going to Mass was such a dangerous thing?
Well, I think we all knew.
All right.
There's one other thing, sorry. Can you pass me the Irish Independent?
Yeah. So can I? Yes, I can.
Sorry, so that was our hero of the week. Shade of the week is being thrown this week from Martin Breheny in the Irish Independent. So he talks about conjecture and rumour, as brought up by Jim Gavin on Saturday. So obviously Jim Gavin said, why journalists or how they report on conjecture or rumour, that's your profession, not mine, so I can't comment on that. Martin Breheny, writing in the Irish Independent this morning, says, as for conjecture and rumour, it can be found just about anywhere. Indeed, the media have to deal regularly with a version that emanates from the Dublin camp itself. How often have teams been announced on Friday night or Saturday morning, yet by Sunday changes are made? It reduces the announcements to the status of conjecture and rumour as far as the public are concerned. Strangely enough, Dublin don't make any issue about that. But then again, they wouldn't, would they? Given that they themselves are behind it.